You know, Mikayla, I can see the passion in your coach talking about you. What's the quirkiest thing about Coach Ralph?
Oh, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time
Spill
for that
some
question.
tea. Spill some tea. Joining us now, she's the head coach of the number 6 ranked Vanderbilt women's basketball team, a Fayetteville, North Carolina native. At one point in high school, she held 17 state basketball records and was the 96 USA Today National High School Player of the Year. She went on to UConn, where her teams went 130-10. And in 2000, she captained the Huskies to the national championship and was named the Final Four tournament's most outstanding player. She was drafted to the W, but knee injuries sidelined her pro career. She pivoted to coaching, went to Pittsburgh for a few years, then back to Storrs, Connecticut, where she was an assistant coach at UConn from 2008 to 2021 before being named Vandy's head coach, a North Carolina Sports Hall of Famer, the SEC Coach of the Year. She's always late, and she proved it today at Shea Ralph. Hi, Coach.
Hi, thank you. Wow, my whole life story in like 20 seconds.
I just want to make sure Mikayla knows, you know, she's getting coached by a boss. She needs
to
to
hear
know
all
about
that?
those
I've heard it a lot.
Okay, good. Well, joining the boss, she's a superstar for the Vandy Commodores, the first sophomore since Asia Wilson to win SEC Player of the Year, the nation's leading scorer. She has the third longest active streak in D1 hoops and scoring in double figures with 50 straight games. She was the 2025 USA Basketball Female Athlete of the Year and 2025 FIBA Women's AmeriCup MVP. A Jersey native, she learned how to be a gym rat from her big bro, and she digs a chill playlist before games. There's no one like number one. It's Mikayla Blakes.
Let's go. That's impressive. Sheesh.
Y'all are impressive. Coach, this is your 5th season at Vanderbilt. You won SEC Coach of the Year. Your overall wins and conference wins are both the most that the school has ever had in the regular season. What do you think really clicked this year to take you from sort of building to built?
We're still building. I mean, I think really the difference is players. You know, you're not a really great coach or a good coach even without really good players and great players that buy into what you're doing, that have laid the foundation, you know, even before this year. And then players like Mikayla, or honestly, just Mikayla, that do the uncommon thing. And I think that's one of the ways that her and I built our relationship, was that, you know, you stated all of those facts and things about my career, but remember when I went to UConn, it wasn't the UConn that it is now. And, you know, I wanted to bet on myself, and the same thing coming here to Vanderbilt after spending half my life at UConn is creating an opportunity for others to do the same. And, you know, Mikayla is built differently, and she did bet on herself and is doing the uncommon thing, and look at what is possible.
Yeah.
When you have what God has given her and you put the right people around each other, and then you just keep doing the work. Look what's possible. And she's proving it, and we're proving it every single day.
One of my favorite stories I read was you were getting recruited by everybody, back to those 17 different state records you had going for you. And everybody was buttering you up. Oh, you're going to start. You're going to be great. You're going to be the best. And Gino Oriema said, well, I mean, if you're good, you'll play. And if you suck, you won't. And you were like, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
Which is built differently. Like you said about Mikayla, someone who wants to prove herself somewhere and who wants to earn it. And I could see why maybe you two bonded over that. Mikayla, you have been a huge part of this team's success. Last year, you set the NCAA freshman single game scoring record. You were the first D1 player to score 53 or more points in multiple games in a season since back in the late 80s. What kind of expectations did you have for yourself when you were making the jump from high school to collegiate play? Did you surprise maybe even yourself with how much success you had freshman year?
Yeah, I completely surprised myself. I mean, everybody I talked to was like, college is a different level, like the conditioning, the workouts, everything, the players. It's like a level above. And coming in, I thought, okay, yeah, I'm just a freshman, so I'm thinking I'm going to get like whacked hard in the face, like from a player or just anything in general.
Metaphorically, even.
Like, yeah. But I mean, just coming in, it was kind of a smooth transition, just the team atmosphere and stuff. And the coaches always built confidence into me. So having that confidence to go out there, it just kind of came natural.
Now in your sophomore season, you're leading the nation in scoring with 27 points a game. What feels good right now in your game? What feels easy?
I don't know if I would say anything feels easy. It's just knowing like the work I've put in to be prepared to perform in those moments. It's been a lot of that, a lot of faith, a lot of just taking time for myself, I think, this year. And just really figuring out like who I want to be as a player and not putting any pressure on myself. I think that's the reason I'm having success this year.
Yeah, the sophomore slump comes sometimes just from like overthinking it after you've done so well your freshman year. Coach, you obviously recruited Mikayla, so you knew she would be great. But can you talk about how great she's been for you?
Yeah, it's so cool to sit here and listen to her answer questions. I'll always read after, the interviews that she has and all the great stories that people are writing on her, and they're deserved and they should be written. So I'm excited that we're here with you today. But I was not surprised at all. And knowing she hasn't lived a long life, she's just beginning hers really. But having lived through all the things that she's going through as a player and as a coach, and watching her come to college and elevate everything that we did, elevate our summer workouts, elevate our academic standards, elevate our culture, elevate our relationship building, elevate our relationship with the communities, elevate our level of fun and joy. And we're continuing to work on that. But it wasn't a surprise, because if that's who you are, then that's how you're going to play. And she's going to have nights, like we all do. But what's really cool about Mikayla is that she doesn't ever get tired. She's going to compete until the buzzer goes off. She's going to demand out of the people around her in a way that calls them up and not out. But if they need to be called out, she'll do that too. I think that she's built, and that's what I mean by she's built differently, because sometimes it takes players years to learn that. Some players that have her level of talent never learn it and never are forced to learn it. And I think you got to look back to her parents, her brother, the people that are in her inner circle that have raised her, that have also built that level of confidence and work ethic and genuine competitiveness and genuine coachability. It just doesn't happen often. So it's not a surprise. And honestly, it's just the beginning. She's only scratched, she doesn't even know this yet, I don't think. She's only scratched the surface. And as she continues to play and work and run into obstacles and, failure, we get all worked up in society. We want things to be so easy. The world is built for it to be so easy. But like, the more that you run up against things that are really hard, the better you're going to be. So I just love that I get to be on the journey with her and her family and this team, because she's only going to continue to do special things. And that, as a result, means that we are only going to continue to do special things here at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, there's a really beautiful thing that happens when someone who is naturally exceedingly gifted also still wants to work so hard at it, because that's when the best stuff arrives. If you take it easy because it's easy for you, or it feels like it comes easy, that's when you can waste some of that opportunity. Mikayla, I can see the passion in your coach talking about you. What's the quirkiest thing about Coach Ralph?
We don't have enough time.
Spill some tea. Spill some tea.
I found out Coach Ralph can do a headstand. That one caught me off guard, because last summer she tortured us and brought us to hot yoga, and she was just like a beast doing it, and we all were drenched in sweat, and I wanted to do it. And then I guess randomly somebody was like, "Yeah, Coach Ralph, can you do a handstand or a headstand?" And she was like, "Yeah." And we were like,
nice.
You're lying. And so she just did it. And I mean, I don't know. That was probably the quirkiest thing I've seen Coach Ralph do.
Mikayla, I want to tell you that folks like Coach Ralph and I, when we get old and busted and our body doesn't let us do what you're doing anymore, we just have to find new challenges like handstands and headstands and splits and yoga positions. It's all we got. It's all we got to get better at after we've torn every single ligament and muscle in our bodies. I too am like a hot yoga person. Oh, look at me. I'm doing this incredible like birds of paradise pose, and it's so much better than last week. And like, that's all I have left. That's all I got. I can't improve my points per game average anymore. Coach, what's the quirkiest thing about Mikayla?
What is the quirkiest thing about you, Mikayla Blakes?
Why do you say my government, Coach Ralph?
Yeah, the government name.
Mikayla Pamela Blake. What's your middle name?
Oh, I can't even give that one out.
Oh, maybe that's the quirkiest thing about you.
I would say, I don't know that she's a kind of a girly girl. So like going to get her nails done, like a little spa day. I don't think that most people would see that, but she has like this little girly side of her. Like if we move around practice and she had a nail appointment or hair appointment, I'm going to get a text message. I'm going to get a text message.
You got to keep that balance,
a very
Coach.
important appointment.
Look
and
good,
I'm
play
like,
good.
okay.
Yeah,
but I love that. She owns it too. She owns it.
I've seen her Instagram. She likes to put up a shot or two looking cute with her little outfits on. So I get that. I could see that. Yeah.
This is my photo.
Coach, after a great regular season, you had a tough SEC tournament. Mikayla got off to a rough start in your quarterfinal game against Ole Miss. You got ejected, arguing a call. I'm curious what went wrong that day, because coming in, you had a full head of steam heading into that tournament.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that anything went wrong. I think, and I said this in the post-game presser, I think Mikayla having a rough start, she just missed some shots. And we all did. We missed some open shots that we normally make. And we weren't able to get defensive stops and rebounds. And it just kind of snowballed a little bit for us. So it's not something that we hadn't seen before. And honestly, we had seen that before from that team. And I think the frustrating part for all of us was that we just kind of let it unravel to the point where even in the fourth quarter when we were able to fight back, we had just dug ourselves a little bit too deep of a hole. But again, I think, sometimes it's just not your night. And what I want my team to understand is, hey, listen, we may not shoot the ball well. And, we may have a quarter where Mikayla and Aubrey don't shoot the ball well, but we can't dig ourselves a hole because we don't do what we're supposed to do on the other end either, because we're not operating as a unit, because we're not continuing to fight and play really hard. And so I think in terms of a rough night, those were some of the things. I didn't think we quit. I think my team played really hard. We just ran up against someone who played better earlier.
And then ran out of time, right? Because you cut it to 9, I think.
We ran, and I listened, and I actually told them today, if I had known that was what it was going to take to turn the game around, I would have gotten kicked out way sooner. That was my second and third technical of my career and way out of character for me. It's not normally what I would do, but I will say that I am tired of having the same conversations specifically about Mikayla. So when things continue to happen around the physicality of the game for her, and I feel like we're not being heard or respected, then I'm going to say what I need to say. And if I knew that I was going to get kicked out, I would have said a lot more.
Yeah. And you would have done it earlier because they got pretty close once she left. And Mikayla, an off night for you with 24 points still, which really says something about how you recovered from a rough start in that one. Coach, are you worried about how that loss might affect your seeding in the NCAA tournament?
No, I have no, not at all. I don't care. We're in. We're going to get seated where they seat us. And we have no control over that. And we're going to continue to prepare and get better. And I think, if anything, I think that what happened in the SEC tournament has added fuel to the fire for all of us. And now we had time to rest, and now we have time to continue our preparation to make a very deep run in March.
I do think sometimes that kind of adversity actually helps a team figure out, okay, we've been here before. It's starting to get away from us. Got to stop it earlier. Or we've been here before and we came all the way back. Here's how we need to do it here. As opposed to sometimes you worry about the teams that really haven't faced a lot of adversity up until they get that tough matchup in the tournament. Mikayla, how do you put that behind you and just, gear up for the bigger tournament that's ahead?
Yeah, I think the main thing is I'm human. Like Coach said, I'm not going to have a perfect game every single night, but I can't let it continue to affect how I perform after that. It's kind of like live in the moment for 24 hours and then brush it off. I mean, I still have a game to play. We still have the tournament we're still hosting and things like that. And I think last year, my dad brought up a great point. We had kind of the same effect. We tried to come back against South Carolina in the SEC tournament, and then we thought it was fuel to the fire for when we came into March Madness, but we started out slow. So just using last year's performance as well to go this year, and actually realize, and I think since we had that happen last year, this year in the NCAA tournament, we will actually be prepared and ready. And I think it'll translate that fourth quarter to March Madness.
There was an 8-year NCAA drought for Vandy, and now you're making a third straight trip to the big dance. How have expectations ramped up with every single year, Coach?
I mean, I don't really think of it as expectations. I like the question. I appreciate it, but I just feel like this is what we came here to do. So the expectations, I mean, no one has higher expectations of us here than me or our kids or our staff. I didn't come here to lose. I didn't come here not to be in the NCAA tournament. So we better go every year. And I don't want to just go. I want to go and win. I want to compete for championships. And so this isn't I'm excited about all the things that are happening around our program right now. I think we've earned them. I think we're having a really special year. And I love that our players are getting honored. And, there's honors for me, which is coaches' honors. And we're getting lots of visibility at Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt has invested in women here. Our AD and our chancellor have invested in athletics and in women, specifically us. And not just money. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the things, all the resources that we have at our fingertips to grow. And this is what that looks like when you invest in women. These are the results that you're going to get. So I love the opportunity to continue to compete for Vanderbilt with my team, with my staff, because we do have something really special here. And the baseline expectation here is that we will be in the NCAA tournament and that we will be competing for championships.
I love that you talk about the investment, because programs like yours are what drives motion everywhere else. Seeing the results of what it looks like when a program is invested in and resourced and cared about and respected, and where that can take your program and your school as a result of what it tells everybody about your school, that you have these successful teams. So
That's right.
I love it. Mikayla, she mentioned some of the other things that have happened around the team as a result of success. And that includes the stands at the games filling up more and more as you're stacking up wins. You're a huge part of that. How do you handle the responsibility, or maybe the privilege, of returning this program to contender status and knowing there's a lot of people showing up to watch you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just excited about it. Like, I came last year and saw the stands, and I was like, I wish we had a lot more fans, because it was mostly filled with opposing fans. But this year, like, we have a lot of people coming up who are like, we just bought season tickets. We're looking to buy season tickets next year. We're excited for you guys. And I feel like that just really proves like that people are investing in women's sports. It's not just all about the men's. And here at Vanderbilt, we also get support from other student athletes as well. They'll show up to games and things like that. So I feel like it's just a huge community. And it's just a really great thing happening.
Yeah, there's something about putting on a show in front of your fellow student athletes that feels especially good. I always felt like it was a special night when folks came to watch us, compete from another team. So I think it's going to be happening more and more for y'all as you continue to have a ton of success. Coach, you were a player and coach at the best women's hoops program in the world. And I wonder what the biggest lessons you took away from Coach Auriemma were.
I would say, number one, that, I think the aura around UConn from the outside looking in is like, they get all the best players, and they're unbeatable, right? They're like, sprinkle this magic fairy dust and all these great things happen. And it's really not, it's not that. I think if you look at how simple the formula is for what was done there and what they continue to do is really, what the nuts and bolts of just having a winning culture and a championship culture and a championship team looks like. I think the biggest thing that I learned there, number one, resilience. It's resilience, because you're going to have to do hard things. You're going to have to do them every day. And especially when you're the hunted. Right. And I think that's really cool that I learned that there. The second part is, there's no replacement for the right people and hard work. So I think especially in the landscape that we have right now, it's really easy to look at talent and numbers and be like, we just need talent, right? We need people that score, and we're going to go by the rankings and all the scouting services, or in the transfer portal, like who has the most points and who has the best rebounds. You got to get the right people.
Yeah.
You don't obviously have to have a level of talent and skill, but if you try to fit pieces that aren't going to fit into the puzzle of your culture, of your team, it's just not going to set everyone up for success, and it's going to fall apart. And that doesn't mean that, that they're bad people or the wrong people or bad players or the wrong players. It's just making sure that you know what you're about as a program, that you know what your team needs, and then putting those pieces in place for them to be successful. And that's my job. I got to clear the path for my team and have a really, really good formula for what it looks like to be successful at the highest level.
Yeah. And I feel like that team building is so much more of an ongoing process now because of the transfer portal. It used to be sort of, yes, year to year, you're going to lose some and gain some, but you can keep building this recipe, add a sprinkle of this, add a shaker of this. And now with each year, it's who do we lose and who do we bring in, and how do I keep acting like a GM for this program and bringing in the right folks. And I think your point is a valid one. A lot of people who go to UConn could go somewhere else and not look like that. And it's not the magic of UConn. It's that work that gets put in once you get there. And I imagine you've taken some of what you've learned there, sprinkled your own thing.
And I would say too, just not to cut you off, but like, I don't think it has to change. And I think this is a really important inflection point in college sports and like protecting the experience of a college student athlete. I don't think that it has to change.
Yeah.
I think that when you have the support that we have and the vision that we have, relationships are still important. It's okay if it's not the right fit for a player, or it's okay. But it doesn't mean that you're going to have rollover every year just because you're trying to win. If that's all that we're doing, then our sport is going to be in trouble. Because
yeah, I completely agree.
Respectfully, and Mikayla's on here, these are still kids.
Mm-hmm.
They still need to grow up. They still need to learn lessons. They still need to learn what it looks like to be successful, to handle adversity, because at some point they're going to stop playing basketball, and hopefully players like Mikayla won't stop playing for a long time. But if we get all the things turned around and get the priorities in whack, then we're not doing our job. And I know here we're going to do our job.
It's a tough thing right now. And I think everybody's feeling the push of like, yes, of course, if a situation's not great, an athlete needs to find a place that's right for them, but also leaving at the first sign of adversity, or not having that 3 or 4 year experience somewhere, or not learning how to push through things that aren't working out to find the other side where you're better, stronger, faster, and readier to play. Like, all of those are a part of the experience. And there's also, unfortunately, some kids who enter the transfer portal and don't find their way to somewhere else. They're looking for a grass is greener situation, and they left behind something pretty good. And I think even those who want to advocate for player rights and player choice are still looking at the system and saying, something's got to give here. It can't just be this constant bopping around where you don't ever have a college experience in addition to your basketball experience.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, which is hard. Mikayla, in addition to everything you're doing at Vandy, you also got the chance to play on Team USA alongside some fellow college greats at the FIBA America. You were alongside Audie Crooks, Olivia Miles, Hannah Hidalgo, like so much talent there. I wonder what you learned from your time with Team USA.
Yeah, I just learned how to play around other really great players, and just how to put people in position for success. I think like that was the main thing there. And also there, everybody works hard. Everybody shows up like 45 minutes early to everything. And it's just like routine for people. And then I just learned there, just discipline. It's like, to be able to be on the court in those moments, you need to be disciplined. You need to be ready. And your role is going to change. You may be the leading scorer one game, you may not. And it's just, what can you do to benefit the team, and how can you be the best teammate for others who are doing really well and others who aren't.
I mentioned first sophomore SEC player of the year since Asia Wilson. Not bad company. Does that distinction make you maybe dream a little bigger even about what could be possible for you in college and in the pros?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great honor, and to be beside Asia Wilson, I feel like she's the GOAT of women's basketball. And she's a huge role model. I look up to her a lot, and it just really shows me that I'm on the right path. My work is being shown, and I'm around the right group of people, because without them, I wouldn't be able to get the award as well. So,
yeah. Coach, this Sunday, Selection Sunday, you'll all be in the gym. Mikayla said they're going to lower the Jumbotron down so you can watch on the big screen. What do you have planned for that Sunday? No matter what comes of the announcement, what's the team going to do pre and post, and how are you going to celebrate what's sure to be a bid?
Yeah, we're going to practice that morning, and then we have a watch party for, the people that are closest to our program, which I think is really cool. We'll lower the Jumbotron. We'll invite them into the arena. We'll sit there with them and watch. And then our coaching staff is ready to take off running when we know who our matchup is. Yeah. And it's really that simple. I think that's really it. I want them to enjoy the moment. I think it's a really exciting thing to be part of. So many people that play college basketball don't get to do what we're going to be doing on Sunday, the way that we're going to be doing it, don't get to compete in the way that we're competing this year, which is to host in Nashville at Vanderbilt. So exciting. So exciting. So I just want them to enjoy that moment, and then we're going to turn the page, and we're going to go, we're going to prepare, and we're going to get ready for the games that we have to play.
Have fun, get to work.
Have fun, get to work. Yep. Work hard, play hard. That's what we do.
That's right. And look good, play good too, as we know.
That is true. That is very true.
Before I let you go, Coach, I know you said, and I agree with you, like there are some great players that are not getting as much storytelling this season. Tell us something about your program that you wish more people knew. A player, a story, a piece of adversity you've overcome. What's something that you wish the national media was talking about from this season?
That's probably a better question for Mikayla, I think.
Look at her.
Really
She's
is.
Like, Coach, don't pass me the ball.
It's probably a better question. I really think that for this team in particular, we've been here for 5 years, and I have Sasha Washington who's been here all 5 years, Jada Brown who's been here 4. I think the landscape changed drastically right after we got here, like a year and a half, 2 years after we got here. And the commitment level, because we went through some really tough times, and there's constant adversity, there's constant obstacles, and the commitment level from my staff, the commitment level from our team, the things that, even Mikayla saw in us before everyone else saw them. But my team knows it, our administration knows it, our community knows it. and we are constantly doing work behind the scenes to be where we are. So I think it's really cool that the eyes that are on us right now are on us, but I want people to understand the buy-in that took, and the commitment and the work and the belief and the chemistry. And it was really, really, really hard. And that was my point earlier, is like, I think right now people just want the easy out or the easy win or the place where they're going to make the most money or that's going to be on TV the most. And what my kids did, my team did, was very uncommon in terms of their buy-in and their commitment. And we're getting to see what delayed gratification looks like. And I just think that's so cool, because that's going to be there for them the rest of their lives. And that is usually what great things look like. Great things don't come to you on a silver platter. Yeah. If they did, we would all have them. But these kids really worked hard for this moment, and each of them has a story. So I'm hopeful as we continue to go on in March that they'll all be told.
Yeah, and it's very cool, the idea of these players that get to point to this moment and say, this is when we changed everything for Vanderbilt women's hoops. Not we're one of many teams that have won, or we're just one of a round of great players that came through and left, but here's where things changed, which is really cool. Mikayla, you got a story since Coach tried to force the ball into your hands?
I punted it, but I answered it, but then I punted it.
You did, yep.
I think like a lot of people don't really look at us outside of basketball. Like a lot of my teammates are influencers. We like to post on TikTok, do a lot of those things. And we're just very like team based. So I feel like, I don't know, if people looked at us outside of basketball, it would be kind of different than what you see on the court. I feel like on the court, we're all just very competitive. But off the court, we're just laughing, just doing trends, things like that, cool. Pranks, everything. So,
all right, Mikayla said, NIL, guys, we have a lot of personalities here. Sponsors, we're funny and smart and cute, and we do dances too.
That's right.
I like it. I like it. Sell yourself. Well, we have enjoyed watching you all season long, and we can't wait to watch you in the tournament. So thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.